making you gay.
Music is a difficult thing. Even if you want to give a performance that breathes life into music, if it is not accompanied by skill and expression, the listener will not be able to feel the message. Even if the entire band or orchestra puts their whole heart and soul into their performance, the music itself will collapse if the ensemble is not good enough. On the other hand, if a band or orchestra performs a difficult piece with perfect technique and ensemble, it may not be able to move the listener's hearts because of its steadfast stability. In this regard, BAND-MAID's performance on this day, especially in the fourth section, was so superb that one could not ask for more. The technique and ensemble playing were outstanding to begin with. The energy is full. Moreover, Konami's awakening sparked a fire in the hearts of the members, and the performance was filled with an unbelievable level of concentration and passion. The performance was extremely stable, but at the same time, it seemed as if it would collapse or break down at the slightest hint of an opportunity, and the audience could not let their minds wander for even a moment. It can only be said that an extremely rare chemical reaction occurred, which no one could have calculated. I say this without exaggeration, but in my experience, such a performance is an extremely rare live experience that does not occur many times a year, even with the world's best super orchestras such as Berlin Philharmonic or the Wiener Philharmoniker. But let me say one thing. BAND-MAID has a unique gem that no super orchestra in the world, not even the Beatles or Zeppelin for that matter, could have. That's right. It's Akane's silly face. I mentioned a bit about her funny face in the Freedom article. Actually, even after that, in the first half of the Okyuji, I don't remember the song, but I remember laughing when I saw her doing a gorilla face imitation for about 4 bars when the other members weren't looking. However, this fourth section, it was during the third song, Warning. That's the first I noticed Akane's funny face as I was distracted by Konami and Saiki. As soon as the song started, she started making silly faces. It was 4 or 5 times in a row, every 4 to 8 bars, a different kind of one. At first, I thought she was exchanging them with someone else. No, even if that was the case, it was crazy, but apparently not. I was very puzzled as to what on earth this was all about, since it wasn't appealing especially to the audience. No, I mean, this is just plain weird, isn't it? Imagine for that moment. During the solo part, Konami, who'd been told something pleasant by Saiki, was so happy that she was bending her upper body backward in joy and playing a frenzied solo, while right behind her, also you could see the face of Akane, who was drumming at a tremendous speed with her face making a pouty mouth and twisting her face, both eyes drawn into the center of her face, looking diagonally downward. And what you hear is that warning, an overwhelming torrent of sound that is twice as thick, twice as hot, and twice as fast as in the music video. A little exaggerated. Incidentally, Akane also made a series of carefully selected silly faces in No God and Domination. Afterwards, as a matter of course, although the number and variety of them were small, even though no one was pulling her hair, she played a few bars of precision drumming with her face bending backward. Hey, I have a question for drummers. Would you be willing to make a silly face in front of a packed house at the best part of Warning? And to the hardcore rock metal fans from long time ago, I would like to ask, has there ever been a band like this one in the history of the world? I remembered after the show. It was after Sendai Okyuji, and there was a tweet that said something like this: Ah-chan didn't make too many silly faces today. Recently, has she stopped making so many silly faces? It seems that BAND-MAID members carefully read Ome-sama's daily Twitter and post Okyuji report Twitter. Perhaps Akane's series of silly faces on that day may have been the result of reading those tweets and responding to that expectation. Oh, I see. That was fan service. No matter then. What? Before I move on to the last remaining member, Miku, I must add something in honor regarding Akane in the previous article. Akane, as usual, was playing the drums with a big smile on her face the whole time, no matter if someone was watching or not. Anytime I saw her, she looked really happy and joyful, and my heart was filled with happiness too. Oh, but there was only one song, Dice, I remember, and she looked unusually nervous from the introduction, and I imagine she must have some anxiety or challenges to overcome. Of course, her performance was wonderful. I don't need to mention the precision of her drumming, but especially in the fourth section, her powerful drums were a great driving force, and in combination with Misa's even more thick and convincing bass, they made the whole piece into a very sturdy piece of music. Perhaps that is why the second song, Different, faded away the insanity and gave me a taste of straight rock and a bit of pop rock flavor with a little bit of chaos seasoning. This was a big takeaway from the day. I had no idea that this and the fourth song, No God, would be so easy to listen to and ride along to. I was ashamed of myself for giving Different a bit of a short shrift before this section began. Yes, not only this song, but also other difficult songs became pleasant to the ears and easy to listen to at the Okuji, like Hibana, Honkai, and others. Oh, and Akane was, in addition to her solo ones, frequently engaged in funny face battles with the other members as usual. Although the other members always had their backs to the audience, so I couldn't see their funny faces. Now then, let's start talking about Miku. Whenever I watch Okuji's live Blu-ray, my eyes are always drawn to her every move. This is because her working style is really pleasant to watch. For example, when she has to play only the guitar part without side vocal, she is always concentrating on strumming the guitar with all her might. Sometimes really enjoying it, other times head banging on the side. As soon as it was over, however, she would become crisp, and when the next side vocal job awaited her, she would step up to the microphone with firm steps, as if driven by a great sense of mission, and focus all her energy on the next required role. In Japan, there is a saying, Ichi I Senshin, originally an old Chinese phrase. Its meaning is to concentrate on one thing without looking aside or being distracted. She always puts her full focus on each moment and does her best to get the job done. Then, when she has another task ahead of her, she will focus on the next task without hesitation or regret and accomplish the task at hand at that moment to the best of her ability. I inexplicably like her grace and the beauty of her carriage in doing so. And I felt that in this one thing, the essence of her humanity was expressed. On this day, I was really looking forward to seeing Miku from such a perspective. And in this raging and tense fourth section, such qualities of hers were on full display. She was always focused on the task at hand, no matter what the occasion. When there is guitar work to be done, that's all she did. When she had a solo part, she focused on that. When there was a vocal work to be done, she did just that. When there was MC work to be done, she did just that. And when the work was done, she instantly transformed herself into a watchdog of the entire band. At times, casually checking on Konami and worrying about her condition, and other times swarming around Akane and exchanging silly faces with her. The way she completed each of these tasks without distraction was fascinating to watch. It is no mean feat for her to not skimp on any detail and to focus only on what she has to do at that moment in time. And it's this attitude toward her professionalism that seems to permeate the entire band. On this day, BAND-MAID's performance, even in the frenetic fourth section, had every detail in order, with no one skipping on details, and everyone giving their all in their job. This is where we should really feel the impact of the presence of Miku, the professional. One last thing. Let me tell you about the most memorable moment about Miku that day. It was that Sayonara Dori. It was right after she stumbled a bit on that last, hardest note of the song, even though everything she had been doing up to that point had been going well. As soon as the song was over, her imagine time would begin, and I paid attention to what Miku would say in her first voice. Will she honestly be disappointed that she screwed up a little at the last moment? Or would she force herself to hide the turmoil in her heart and start emceeing as if nothing had happened? However, I was truly surprised and moved when I heard Miku's first words. "I'm having fun, Po." She shouted from the bottom of her heart and smiled with a big smile on her face, revealing her heart as it was. And then, "Fun, Po. Fun, Po." I felt as if I'd seen the very best of Miku's wonderful humanity in her smile, as she innocently repeated over and over again, lightly jumping up and down. According to those who had heard all 4 of her previous performances, Miku singing in Sayonara Dori on this day was the best she'd ever done. Well, it's time for me to come to the end of this too long article of mine. Let me just take one last moment to talk a little bit about the audience and how I felt about this whole Okyuji thing. I'm used to not making a sound in the audience during a classical concert. I guess the difference is that there was no bravo at the end of the performance, and instead we could get up from our chairs, headbang, raise our arms, and hand clap. So I know very well that the feeling of the audience can be conveyed to the performers, even though they do not speak out. I had often seen performers look around at the audience before going on stage and say, "The air is different today," and then head to the stage. And on such days, the performance was always a memorable one. I was in the front 2 rows, so the number of masters and princesses I could see during the performance was very limited. But even within that small field of vision, there were many inspiring people. A middle-aged master who kept sticking his right hand in the air while covering his eyes with his left hand the whole time. The old master who'd been headbanging for a long time, but by the 4th section, regardless of the beat, he kept shaking his head dizzyingly like a sleepwalker. The blood vessels leading to every corner of the music doubled and tripled inside, and bright red, fresh blood flowed like a torrent of pounding. If you are focused to listen to such a thing for 5 songs in a row, of course you would. In that 4th section, a young man froze in his posture with his right hand raised in the air because of the tremendous performance. The woman who is jumping up and down violently in No God and is alone and quietly excited. Since this is the maids, I am sure they were watching the audience closely and feeling the unvoiced enthusiasm of the masters and princesses while they were playing hotly. Perhaps Mincho's awakening may have been because she tried to answer us. No, I am sure it must be so. The reason I've continued this long story without regard for your inconvenience is because of one thought. I will tell you about it at the end. First of all, my comment that I sent to you immediately after the performance as my overall impression of the Okyuji was as follows. Today's Okyuji, in my own way, can be summed up in a few words. Music that touches moves the heart, in the truest sense of the word. In my experience, there are many great, good, and beautiful performances, but it is rare to encounter music that truly touches, moves the heart. As many of you know, I have worked primarily in the classical music field. The number of concerts I have heard in the audience may not be much different from yours, and when it comes to rock and metal music, I might as well be a beginner. However, if I include the number of concerts I've heard mainly classical and jazz, I've probably heard more than 5,000 concerts, including those that I've heard at rehearsals, backstage, and monitors in the concert hall. Although the genres are different, I know that music that touches, moves the heart, cannot be achieved by the performers alone. A chemical reaction with the audience, an accidental event like today's Mincho, and many other things that add up to create a once-in-a-lifetime concert, and coincidences call for miracles. I am now old enough to know better. I will not have much time left, so recently I especially feel that I have had enough of music that is just beautiful or good-looking. I want to listen only to music that touches my heart. Today's Okyuji made me feel very happy to be alive and to be there. Whether it was accidental or Konami intentionally calculated it, I am just grateful. I am happy now. At that time, my mind was still not organized, and I could only write such emotional and abstract things. However, I knew that what I really wanted to convey could never be explained in simple words, and that ordinary musical performance reports or plain factual statements would not form any concrete image in your minds at all. That is why I ended up doing this. Okyuji, in my personal opinion, is not just a concert or a show where you can listen to the performances and see the maids live. It's a drama. But it's not like a baby metal concert, for example, where the stage is set on a grand scale. The scenario is carefully planned and dramatically staged, and the performers and audience are all characters in a contrived drama. And in Okyuji, the only scenario is a set list and a brief MC structure, or rather, this is all that is needed to complete the normal concert. The rest is ad-libbed, or thought up, or accidental, or whatever the case may be. And the drama unfolds spontaneously and accidentally, with absolutely no predetermined course of events. It is a drama in ordinary life. It is an extremely human, everyday attire drama. Moreover, the masters and princesses in the audience are not spectators, not even the audience. Together with the maids, they create a drama that has no plot and will never be repeated. This is a tremendously fascinating experience. It is the kind of thing that, once you get into it, you never get out of it. No, you will never want to get out of it. Even I am surprised. First of all, I was supposed to weep at Sayanakadori, but I was tearing up at Choose Me. How could I imagine such a thing? Who would believe that Hibana and Honkai sounded more like straight rock than anything else thanks to the new songs? Well, it's really fun. And I'm no Miku, but I'm in the mood to yell out, "I'm having fun, Po," at the top of my lungs. Some people refer to BAND-MAID music as a BAND-MAID genre, neither rock nor metal. And this one Okyuji is the exact same. This is neither a concert nor a show, but a totally otherworldly genre called Okyuji. Yes, it is. I have decided to tell you this long story because I just want to share it with you. Thank you so much for being patient and reading and listening to my poor writing and poor English. I cannot thank you all enough. To those of you who are coming home on the US tour or the world tour that will be held in the future, please enjoy Okyuji in your own way. And don't let my boring impressions fool you. If ever there was a phenomenon that encompassed the idea of Ichigo Ichi, enjoy this moment, it is BAND-MAID. I recorded pohojisan's sometimes elegant, sometimes whimsical, sometimes blunt, but always truthful words, and I realized that this moment he was describing would never come again. But then, comparing it to the Seattle show with Konami and Psyche's antics, I realized that every BAND-MAID show is a moment that will never come again. Except in the hundreds of fan cams all over the YouTube at the moment. What I appreciated about pohojisan's rendition was that in Japan, fan cams are banned, so he took the time to take a picture of his mind and share his experiences with his fellow fans. So far, the ladies have played Seattle and San Francisco. Tonight, they're in Los Angeles. For the maniacs attending, relish the moment. Live the moment, for there will never be another concert like what you are witnessing right now. Thank you, Pohojisan, for allowing me to record and share your BAND-MAID Ichigo Ichi. Thank you, Orenji-san, for giving us a platform from which to share. Many concerts are left. Each one will be unique. Enjoy your moment, maniacs. Po.